Let me tell you something, man to man, at the end of the day, it is your job to honor your spirit. Yeah. It's got the gun show today, baby.
Not bad. Come on, man. That's how we're feeling today. Listen, I'm going to take you guys on to a ride as I go inside the car. Something that I thought was super, super interesting. So, ready?
Hell yeah, dude. Another car ride. And this is feeling a lot smoother. Like, I'm not going to sit here and cap. Oh, no. See if this thing's going to hold up or not. God willing, it does. This guy reached out to me in my DMs, just talking about, you know, I have enough money in the bank right now and I don't want to work my job anymore. And, you know, I have overprotective parents. I have everyone telling me it's the bad idea. I know it's stupid on paper, but my gut is telling me to go do something else. You know, how do I go about doing this? Because the logical part of my brain is telling me this and this part's telling me no. Let me tell you something, man to man. At the end of the day, it is your job to honor your spirit. That's it. It's your job to honor your spirit with whatever. It does not matter what it is. People are so terrified of being looked at like less, or being looked at like an idiot, and disappointing people. And the reason why you're so worried about that is because you don't feel a certain way about yourself. For me personally, I have disappointed a lot of people in my life in terms of decisions I've made in the moment. Decisions that I've made that people are like, what the hell are you doing? This is stupid. You're throwing your life away. I've gotten it all. I've been basically on the other end of making decisions to where, guess what? I'm alone. Everyone sees all this glamorous stuff, you know, they go through and they're seeing all the glamour and they're like, man, I want to be like that. But what they don't realize is that person had to make a decision that was against the grain. And when you have conviction, when you know in your head, this is what I need to do for myself, it may not make sense on paper. It may not make sense out here. It may not make sense to you. But at the end of the day, it's your life. You go to the grave alone. Every decision I've ever made for myself that was the best decisions I've ever made were never the right decisions on paper. They didn't make sense to anybody. Nobody understood where the hell I was thinking. But it's because most of my life, I spent my life listening to everybody else around me. For most people, they can't die on their own sword. They would rather pin their loss on somebody else. That's just the truth. And it's because just because you happen to have the answer, you know internally, this is the thing I know I need to do. On paper, does it make sense? No, it doesn't make sense. But I know it in my heart that this is the route for me to take. The issue with that is you can't sit in the tension. Most people can't absorb the pain. They can't absorb the tension of it. And people break. And that's what happens with most people. It's not about the decision itself. It's how everything else around you, including the people around you, what they happen to do is what? They'll talk you off the ledge. They'll try to tell you that you're making a mistake. That's your worry. How does everybody else react to a decision I made, or what I say, or how I say it? There is a huge difference between being a prick and being a confident man who has conviction because he has his own moral code of ethics. You have your own values, your own principles that you have learned from your own life and off hard lessons. But you're trying to play mental gymnastics around the fact that I am not comfortable with other people not being my cheerleader. And if you're waiting for cheerleaders to clap for you, and doing, oh, you did such a good job of making a decision, you have to go out and make it happen. By the time you go out and make the thing happen, where everyone's like, you know what, you were right, you won't give a shit. And what sucks about it too is everyone else can be like, yeah, I always knew this was going to be the case with you. I just knew it. When they're the first person in line telling you that this was stupid as fuck. That's how it works. And you just sit there and you're like, okay, all right, yeah, for sure. I know you were the one that was really in my corner here. You don't give a shit about it, though, and it doesn't bother you. You don't hold resentment. Why? Because for the first time in your life, when you start making decisions from a place of this, all you're doing is, am I honoring my heart? Am I honoring my spirit? Do I actually give a shit about what anybody else thinks ahead of my own opinion? You are looking for validation because you have not proved that out for yourself. And you don't know if it's going to come to fruition. And it's your job to make truth happen. That's the coolest part about being a dude. I actually heard this one time. It's like the coolest part about being a man is that you can create truth. And that's the truth. You can. When I started my pages, in the beginning, I just basically said, this is what I'm going to do and I know I'm going to make happen. At the time, it was delusion. But now that everything is starting to kind of like, you know, chug along, it's getting a little bit better. Not so much on YouTube, but other platforms. You know, in your head, you're like, yeah, you're creating, and everyone's like, man, you're doing it. You're going so fast. And now everyone wants to ask you questions. And like, yeah, man, you know what? I've actually been thinking about doing social media, when they're the first people shitting on it. This is how it works. But you don't give a shit about it, because going through this process alone, I swear to you, as much as I'm not a lone wolf guy, like I think you need to have a good array of people around you, but that's the thing. That's how it starts. It has to start with you. You have to go through it alone, because the conviction comes from you having to sit in those ugly feelings alone. And I swear to you, coming out on the other end of that, I would not trade that journey for anything else on earth. Do you understand the amount of confidence and conviction that I have in my bones? Do you think that happens on accident? It can't happen on accident. The only way it happens is by you pushing so hard alone, not needing a damn cheerleader. I don't need anyone telling me I'm doing a good job. I don't need anyone telling me, hey, you got to go do this. You know, honey, I'm proud of you. A lot of people are waiting for their parents, and most people are, and I would say 99% of people are impressionable by their parents. You know, even through older age. But it's crazy once you get to a point where you recognize, like, hey, like, I love my parents. I love whoever, you know. I love a lot of people in my life. But no offense, I make the decision. I know what's best for me. I know what I want to set up for me in my life. Because it ain't anybody's life besides my own. So why would I give a shit what anybody else thinks about my process and what I think is right in my heart? They can't feel my beating heart. They can't feel it the way it's pumping. Came close. They can't feel any of that. How unreasonable would it be for me to think that someone else is supposed to agree with my decisions? Why would I give a shit? Why would that even matter? And honestly, if I had it my way, knowing what I know now, I wouldn't want anybody on my side when I make a decision. I want to make everybody else at a certain point come around because I am so undeniable. That is what you can create through the journey. By you making a decision that is so uncomfortable to sit in the moment because you have nothing to show for it besides a vision and yourself. But you want to know what you have to do? For the first time in your life, you're going to fully lean in on yourself. For the first time in your life, you only have yourself to lean on and to make it happen. You know how beautiful that is? I got me. When you show up for yourself over and over and over again, you know you have yourself to bail yourself out of anything. And you know all I need is me. If I got me, I'm good. That is where conviction comes from. Conviction doesn't come from telling yourself mantras in the mirror. Oh, I am one with the universe. I will take over. I will do this. Nah, it's by going out and doing it over and over and over again. To where you just know no matter what happens. Listen, I've had some horrific shit happen to me in my life. And it's even happened recently in my life. Things that have really broken my heart. But you want to know something? I take things for what they are, not for what I want them to be. And I act accordingly, and I play my pieces according to that. And I'm never, ever going to change who I am or how I go about doing things because someone else might be a fucking piece of shit. Or someone else said something mean to me. Or someone else is trying to fucking say shit behind my back. I don't care. My moral code of ethics does not change. My performance and how I act and the things that I do not change because it's my game. I operate the game the way I believe the game is meant to be operated under my own accord. No one else's behavior is ever going to switch that up for me. And when you go in with that type of, and the thing is, I'm telling you all this for what? It all starts from making the decision that is uncomfortable and that is against the grain. And it's your job to sit in the shit by itself. And the thing is you're going to know right away, is this meant for me or is it not meant for me? You'll know right away, because those moments are going to keep on coming over and over and over again. And I swear to you, even in the worst times where you just want to bow out because you're so tired, because you're battling a lot more than the thing you want to accomplish. You're battling other things. There's a lot of moving parts involved. But when you can just move through like nothing, like butter eventually, even if you are exhausted, and that is where conviction comes from. Because you have been through the ringer, you were forced to lean in on yourself, and guess what? You fucking did it. No one else did it for you besides you. And to me, that is priceless. You choose you every single time.